Like we've always talked here in the past, our goal is to keep as many good players here as we can. They both earn the right to be free agents. Christian and I actually had a really good conversation today. Was very happy for him. He bet on himself after a summer of negotiations where, we made a couple offers and one we felt very good about was fair, and he and his representation said as much, but we couldn't close that gap at the end. And so he bet on himself and paid off for him. Very happy for him. So we'll stay in communication and see where this ends up. But he earned the right to be a free agent. And again, I'm happy for him. We drafted him here, developed him here, and the type of person we're looking for. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I wouldn't say that consistently. We ran the ball against Baltimore, Buffalo. We did some good things. Liam came in and battled through his bumps and bruises and did a great job for us. So Connor was playing some good football for us. The leadership stuff we provided, and unfortunately with football, injuries happen, and he's been great communicating with Mike through us here and through the end of the season. So we'll stay in touch with him and see what happens. It's a little mixed, and I only mean that because this is now year 2 with Mike. Here, so we won 9 games a year ago, 11 this year. We've taken steps. I think we have a good roster. Whether success, failure, I leave that for you guys to judge. But I think we're building something good that we feel good about, and looking forward to continuing that in the offseason towards the next year. Yeah, no, we've had conversations. Like we said, we wouldn't talk with throughout the season in terms of contract stuff, but we've stayed in touch with his agent. Had good conversations throughout the year. Never talking about money or anything, just good conversations about where he is and the relationship with Mike and the team here and everything he's done. And so the goal is to have him here long term, playing at a high level. So that's always the goal, and we'll continue and we'll communicate with him through the off season here. And like we've always said in the past, you guys know me, we don't really talk in the media through all that stuff, so we'll keep all those talks internal and with his reps. Wow. I think that's just one we'll keep talking with him. We'll work through it all,
Is he representing Tua?
That's what the market says, that's all.
Yeah, so we'll just keep, our conversations working with him, and I think everything will be productive, and we'll just see what happens. Yeah, at the end of the day, we have good players here, and everyone will have a market. We're not really right now concerned about where we'll be in March, salary cap wise. I think Brandon Shore, Max Napolitano. We've had a lot of conversations. They've given us a lot of flexibility with multiple options of ways we can be creative, and so. Hats off to them, just through their work and grind on things, and so Mike, Brandon, and I will have a lot of discussions, and we'll talk with Steve as we get through here, and we'll try and keep as many of the players here that we can. Yeah, that's always like a little bit of a trick question, because the goal was always to win first the AFC East, playoff game and Super Bowl, and we fell short of those goals. I would say in year 2 with what Mike and his staff has done was especially in not making excuses through the injuries we had with the multiple, I think 12 or 13 offensive line combinations, all the losing all the pass rushers, outside linebackers, running backs banged up here and there. They did a fantastic job of working through that, and our players deserve a lot of credit. They battled their just through everything and working and just buying into what the coaches are preparing. Last week we probably had the oldest outside linebacker group in the history of football playing out there. So there were a lot of successes, a lot of things we're happy about, but at the end of the day, what our goals are, and so we'll just keep working to achieve those. Yeah, I think we feel very strong that our group are some of the best in the NFL, and I think if you were to ask a lot of agents and stuff, we get feedback of all that when they deal with our players, and they always say your guys are the best. And so, like everything, they'll evaluate everything that we do on and off the field. But we feel really strongly that they're the best, and sometimes it's football, injuries happen, but those guys do a fantastic job of getting our guys prepared, and I think you would have some players who have come here from other teams as well that have talked about injuries they've had at previous places, and they've had no issues here. So it's just one of those years where it was our turn, unfortunately, to have injuries, and it's part of football.
No, I think you're always assessing things. An important part of right after the season is to make sure that you're not making your judgments based upon the emotion of the roller coaster ride that you just went on. I think you have to critically assess by slowly evaluating everything. I think the way I look at it is nothing's off the table ever. Just because to just say, well, that's the way we've done it, that's not a good enough reason to me. And I think we failed to reach our goals this season, so that play calling wouldn't live outside that. And we'll see based upon what we do with this season. If we utilize all the lessons learned, we'll see what it actually means as we press forward. Yeah, I think all things are fair right now. I know there's it was we're still kind of grieving through the process collectively as a coaching staff. I have to quite honestly, the main thing that I'm trying to do is make sure that I maintain my communicate with the players as they go through their exit interviews, and that it's about between 50 and 70 guys that I meet with, and then we'll get together as coaching staffs and kind of undress the season in a painful but productive way, and I think that's what all healthy staffs do, really, regardless of a success or failure. A fair amount, I think. We talk all season about progressing to be your best, and we weren't. And you talk about, a narrative is a narrative, assuming that you're getting better, learning from it, and when you ultimately fall short, then it's just, you have to look at between the eyes and look at where we had successes, where we had failures, not really harbor any defensive mechanism, because it's the bottom line is we didn't get the results that we wanted. We feel good about our process, but everything has to be really evaluated, and first and foremost are the shortcomings. You also have to look at what you did do well, but that's always the last thing on our minds in the off season. Same way, if you would have, I don't know, you'd have to go through the transcript, but when we were having this press conference a year ago, we weren't necessarily talking about pre-snap penalties, I don't think. For me, I knew they were an issue, but then you take a step back, you critically assess everything, you see how much of a hindrance it was on our overall productivity, and you make it an emphasis, and you get what you emphasize. So then it's supremely important that we look at everything, not assume it's correlation or causation. You look at everything flatlined and find the ways that you can get better, and that's what I think players sign up for, and an organization is depending on. No, I think the type of defense that they were playing with aggressive reroutes, and it was a quarters man predominantly. That's kind of what it's orchestrated to take away. I think I didn't really think of it in that lens in terms of it was that night for that times guys made very accurate passes, short and long, and then guys missed guys short. It wasn't. I think our one touchdown was on a ball over the top of a quarter safety. So I didn't really look at it like that. I wish we would have gotten more opportunities to I think the biggest hindrance for really the varied ways that we could kind of execute our game plan, and we did have some stuff down the field that was appropriate for the defense that we're expecting, but it makes it real difficult when you're one of whatever on third down. That takes we had a mindset to go run the ball, and we had some mirrored shots in the pass game that we felt pretty good about that had to be kind of specific for their defense. But you don't get to those calls when you have to either avoid third down, or you're punting, which is the situation we found ourselves in that game.
Well, first off, congratulations to Detroit and Dan Campbell. Happy for Dan, who was here, a good guy and good man, and him and Brad have done a good job there, so happy for them. But, yeah, for us, it's just we're just going to keep grinding, chopping wood. We have a good roster. We know that we'll keep adding. The team will look different. I mean, as we all know, every year it's 30 to 40% or more of your roster has changed. But we will find ways to have good players here and be competitive. We're very excited about our core nucleus of players here that will be competitive, and the goal is, to win the AFC East and win a playoff game and ultimately a Super Bowl. And that's the goal of all 32 teams, and it's no different for us.
Is that an accurate?
Yeah, I mean, we feel good about it, but like you said, this is 48 hours or less after a game still, and you go through our process like we always talk about. The coaches are going to go look through everything from the spring through the summer through the season. Personnel will go talk through everything and from look at it through our lens, and we'll get together, we'll talk about it, and exit interviews here will be part of it, and might meet with the coaching staff, and then we'll all get together, and then we'll make appropriate decisions that we feel we need to make. Yeah. No, I was happy for Rob that he got to get back at the end of the year for us. We drafted him here. He's gone through a bunch of different coaching philosophies and styles in the offensive line, and I think Mike and then Butch this year, Barry coming in and did a fantastic job. Rob and all those offensive linemen all worked tirelessly to improve and get better and buy into the scheme. And so, for us, again, like all of them, he's earned the right to be a free agent. We did have a conversation with him during the season. So we'll see what happens here, as we go through it. But again, these guys have earned the right to be free agents. We would like them to be here. They want to be here. So we'll have to see what happens. Yeah, but like everyone, we're going to go through all this whole process right now. Xavien's been a good player here for a long time. He was part of the first draft class I had. I've had many talks and discussions, and I really appreciate him and love him as a person and player. So we'll go through this process here, like with every player individually. And, I think he met with Mike today, and he and I may have a conversation here in the next day or so. So, right now we're just going through with every single player on the roster, and it's no different with Xavien. I don't know. I think it's just piggybacking off Mike. I just think it's a combination of things. We've played some good football teams, and a majority of the games were fairly close late in the game. And for various reasons, we weren't able to pull it out and win it. So I think those will be something we'll go through and evaluate and look at through here in the offseason, and that's what the whole spring is for, to as Mike said, you look at, it's not necessarily improving the things you're great at, and it's working at the things that, where we had struggled or would like to finish better.
Was that your critique? Oh, no, I'm just kidding. So, I just want to see him, make sure the curve continues to be exponential in his growth, where we've seen at every stretch of the way him improving, and then when things that doesn't mean it's void of a result that isn't desired, but what we've seen is him learn from all the things that he goes through. I think that's the one thing that I've always that I can say in my 2 years of experience with him is he's as good of a learner as I've ever seen. Take jiu-jitsu, or throwing left-handed, or etc. So, I think that's what I want to see, is that continued thirst to find different ways while maintaining and growing your confidence, but finding different ways to always create new edges in your game. I think it is Tua gonna be a zone read option quarterback? No, but I think he has developed in some of the buying extra time when necessary. I think that will continue to improve, where you can just maybe move off the spot a little bit and not necessarily run for a first down, but you can extend the play. I think that those things improve with a lot of things. The continuity of an offensive line group, that you learn where guys are generally blocking for the launch point, and so then you know your safe spots in the pocket. All of these things, it's all about progression. I think he just needs to continue to do what he has been doing in terms of progressing, and I'll be very much happy with that. Like I said, I was very, very happy with the way that that our coaching staff responded to the various things that happened during the course of the year. I thought they really down the stretch did give it their all that we ended the season with losses, but knowing how they invested in their players and tried to give them the best chance. So that's where I was left with, and then I've just been inundated with trying to connect with as a head coach, you are talking to guys every day, but you're not really invested. You don't get those extended conversations, and that's entirely just about them, where their game's at, and that's kind of what I've been inundated with. I haven't even, besides having a staff meeting, I haven't even really talked or even thought about the coaches, to be honest.
Can't promise anything. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, we've had a couple draft meetings with the scouts, and they'll be coming back in February, and we'll hit that hard before we go to Indianapolis. And us, if there's an opportunity that we feel can help our roster and it makes sense, and most of the guys we've traded for have been in an age bracket too that makes sense for us to do that if you're going to move a pick like that. So we're always open to listening if people want to contact us as well. I know he wants a first round pick bad, but
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.